take it from the top.
This is the Lowdown Sports Show.
Give me the lowdown.
With Drew.
I just heard your dad might already hate you, and I was like,
Yeah.
what, brother? Oh, man.
And BJ.
Yeah, he could be part of the mascot's entourage and be throwing T-shirts into the crowd.
And it all starts right now.
All right, welcome into another episode of the Lowdown Sports Show. I'm your host, Drew.
I'm BJ.
And we're here to get the lowdown on all things basketball. Oh, man. Got a good show for you today. Not too jam-packed with too many topics. A little slimmed it down a little bit for you. But we got some interesting ones on tap. Still got NBA and WNBA on the course of the playoffs for the WNBA. That means we got to talk about who won the awards for the season as well. And we got an interesting topic in the NBA. Got a little all-time list here for the NBA. A little unorthodox. I'll save that for you. You'll get to check it out here in just a second. But before we get to our topics for today, I want to make sure we shout out our partners, TeePublic, Fanatics, and SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a ticket app that takes the confusion out of buying tickets. Use code THELOWDOWN in all caps for $20 off your first order. And my man BJ, man, this show is presented by StatHead. We got
That it is, Drew. And we've got our stat of the episode for you here today, folks. We're looking at another head-to-head. This time we're looking at Tierra McCowan, Big T of the Dallas Wings, head-to-head up against Ariel Atkins of the Mystics. And in their careers, Ariel Atkins, 8-5 all-time in the regular season against Big T. Played more games, averaged a little bit more points per game than Tierra McCowan, 13.2 for Atkins compared to 11 for McCowan. But McCowan blows her out of the water in the rebounds, as you'd expect, with 8.4 points or 8.4 boards a game compared to Atkins' 3. Atkins with 2.3 assists per game and 1.4 steals per game are ahead of Big T, who does not average in one in either of those categories. But she does average over a block per game, which is better than Atkins, and has the better field goal percentage at .548 compared to Atkins' .421. Although, when it comes to awards and honors, Drew, Ariel's got the championship, 5 all-defensive player or all-defensive team selections, and 2 all-star appearances. Big T is still looking to crack in those categories. So it's a little bit of ways to catch up, but interesting little comparison that you can use over with our friends at StatHead. This was one of the suggested searches when you come up on StatHead at the basketball category. You can obviously, like we did last week, you can make your own, and you can compare multiple players, not just 2, but you can do a 3-player comparison, as we did sorting out our MVP discussion. And I'm sure we'll revisit that here, Drew, as we get going on later on in the show in our WNBA section.
I was definitely curious of the origins of why Ariel Atkins and Tierra McCowan. I was like, how did we get here? I was definitely not starting the show without asking that question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before I even got to it. So
yeah, it was. You can look at a sample search basically, and they'll give you all kinds of different ones. In fact, I can go right now to the homepage, and you can see they regenerate. Based on. I guess based on what you look at, you can look at Shaq versus Kobe in each of their careers. You can look at Jonquel Jones versus Candace Parker. You can look at Lonzo Ball versus John Morant. The possibilities are endless. Right now, the top 3 selections, or the top 3 examples you can do: Kyrie versus Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry versus Kevin Durant, and LeBron James versus Russell Westbrook. So a lot of people are comparing players to Russell Westbrook today, apparently.
Doing some comps today, just like us over here.
I was gonna say it's a suggestion for a reason, so
yeah,
we'll find out why. But
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. BJ, for our stat of the episode there. Ariel Atkins and
course.
Sarah McCowan, the
Of
subjects
course.
of comparison for today. Man, oh man. And I won't forget it at the top of the episode this time. Make sure you guys follow us on social media on I almost said Twitter, X. I just
It's
get
okay.
X.
You can dead name it. I don't think it. I mean, you say X, people know what you're talking about, or they might not. You have to say
Yeah.
the other one too.
Follow us on the former Bird app, X. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you follow. You can follow on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Follow on TikTok. I just had a brand new TikTok drop and some new What's on Drew's Mind and BJ's Best from last week because I was late. I'm sorry. But it's out there. Go give it a like. Go watch it. Go check it out.
Absolutely.
So
And they're all above at the same username.
that's right. All at the same username, _lowdown. That's THA_lowdown. And we're in the season finale of season 3, BJ.
That's right.
Like, I remember it doesn't even feel like long ago we were talking about the season finale of season 2. And
Yeah.
man, like it seems like 50 episodes flies, but it doesn't fly at the same time.
It's yeah, I was gonna say we've had some moments where it has, kind of felt like it was dragging its heels a little bit, but I mean, when it's just you and me, Drew, it's always fun. It always feels like it flies by, but not to say that we haven't had that all of our episodes haven't been fun or anything like that. I think it's just it all comes down to what's going on in the daily as to whether or not the episode comes and goes and is very quick or whatnot, I guess.
Oh, it's always a good time when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And let's get right into it, BJ. I was
it.
terrible at teasing it earlier, but let me just talk about it because I didn't want to tease it, but I decided to tease it, and the tease was just bad. But today we're getting into the 30 most overpaid NBA players in history.
Ooh, okay.
30 most overpaid players of all time in NBA history. Man, oh man,
There's been some bad deals.
Yes, there have been, and some of these names, it's got a couple people I didn't recognize. Maybe it was just because they got injury riddled, they got this bag, then they, injury, then they weren't able to come back like some stars out there, and that's the crutch of some of these guys on this list, but not everybody. But I mean, you guys will get through it. I'll try to not drag along with a number of 30 people on this list here, but we'll get through it.
There might be some conversations.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'll try to explain some of these things that are going on right here. So there are 30 here, guys. So let's go ahead and walk on through this, or run or jog so we can get through it quickly.
I was just say we can. If we're anything like some of these players, we might be briskly walking,
trotting back down the court, sandbagging as they call it.
Yeah.
Anthony Hardaway coming in at the number 30 spot, aka
Okay.
Penny Hardaway.
Mm-hmm.
And this list is on Hoops Hype, by the way, and they're saying that seasons overpaid versus underpaid. 9 overpaid seasons and 5 underpaid seasons. His real value was $67,840,094. His career earnings were almost double at $120,469,142.
Wow.
One of the most explosive floor generals of his era. Injuries derailed what was an extremely promising career and pretty early on too, as before even turning 30. Penny Hardaway had missed a lot of games and was no longer the player he was in his pre-injury prime. As such, Hardaway checks in at number 30 on their list for most overpaid players ever, according to Real Value. Okay. His most overpaid campaign happened in 2005-2006 when he earned $15.8 million from the Knicks to appear in 4 games and average 2.5 points.
Yikes. That's not good.
Right?
But I was going to say and this is the thing with this list, and I mean, obviously I'm not going to take too much time, but when you have proven yourself, even in small doses, and you have gotten enough people to know what you're capable of,
mm-hmm.
even if it's something that's completely out of your control, such as an injury to derail it, people are going to give you that. They're going to make the investment hoping that you will be what they saw and you will be able to help them make back the money that they invested in you. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but that's the business of business, honestly.
I just thought of a player as you were talking just then, and he's not on this list, but he should be, but I don't know what his earnings were like. But
Okay.
let me know if you can think of a player right now that you think should be on this list, but is not.
I'll have to look through again just to make sure, but I thought there were a couple that seemingly
Did
weren't
you
on
look
this
already?
list. Yeah, I've got the list.
Oh, yeah, darn it.
I thought that's what you wanted. I mean,
It's okay.
we both try to prepare for the show equally here,
Well,
Drew.
not for this question. I'm just gonna eliminate this question then because it's on the list. But you can still do it though. You can still do it.
Yeah, who are
Somebody
you
this
thinking specifically? Because I'm sure there's a lot of players that you
Derrick
make the
Rose.
argument for. Yeah. That's the thing, though, is that
Just
I don't
because,
know
like,
if I know he's been injured a lot, but he got, I think, one really big superstar deal, and then it was trade and injuries and just being derailed. So he may not have made as much because he didn't have opportunities to sign those big number deals, even though it seemed like he was always making a lot of money and being injured versus like value wise comparatively. But I thought that it was a little bit surprising that I didn't see him on the list either. But I think that may be part of it, is because it wasn't, like in terms of value, if he was being, shipped around and everything like that versus the amount of time he missed. That is the only reason why I think that he wouldn't be on here.
yeah, and I just didn't know what his bag was on that extension. If he got one from his rookie year, like when he got the MVP, like after that year before, coming back or what. I didn't know what his money looked like. I know he hasn't been paid very well in the later years, but I didn't know what his money was looking like. Since you got this list and you're rocking with me, you want to get the odds and I get the evens?
I'll do the odds, baby. How about that? Let's go ahead and number 29 on the list. We've got Steven Adams. He has been overpaid, I should say, in 6 of his 9 seasons, according to this list. His real value is $75.39 million, but he has earned over 128, almost $129 million in his career, which is a difference of $53.4 million, or 42% almost. He's a beloved teammate, a rock-solid screen setter, as well as a great rebounder, but his impact isn't always fully captured by statistics, so that's part of the reason why he ended up on the list. It says, according to Real Value, he was most overpaid right out in that weird COVID year after the bubble in 2020, 2021. He made almost $30 million to average 7.6 points and just under 9 boards in 58 games. The Real Value estimates he was worth $7.6 million that season, so an overpay by $22 million.
Ooh.
My goodness.
Man, oh man. Steven Adams, I didn't know he got that much money.
I know. It doesn't seem like it, and it doesn't seem like he's been in the league that long that he would be getting in on this list.
Number 28, BJ, a name not really too familiar for me. Vin Baker. Seasons overpaid versus underpaid. 9 overpaid seasons and 5 underpaid. Real value is at 43.595. Can't even get my words out. 43.5 million, and then 97.3 million in career earnings. Difference is negative 53.7 and negative 55.24%. My screen is freezing. There we go.
Uh-oh.
This one is difficult to talk about considering Vin Baker reportedly lost $100 million after his career and had various personal problems that he went through. Baker's most overpaid season was 02-03 when he made $12.4 million while averaging 5.2 points over 52 appearances, and $10.9 million overpaid per Real Value.
You said you didn't recognize the name of Vin Baker at 28, but you will recognize this name. Number 27 on the list is Patrick Ewing. Ewing was overpaid in 8 of his 13 seasons. His real value, according to that metric was 58 million, just over that. But he earned, rightfully so, in his career 112, almost 112.7 million dollars, which is a difference of just over 54.5 million dollars, or almost 50% that he was overpaid by. The data only goes back to 1990s, so he still gets punished and makes this list despite likely outproducing his 1980s contracts when he was making all-star teams. Though as he got older in his career, he began to underperform due to age and injuries while earning a lot of money. His most overpaid season came in 97-98 when he made $20.5 million while appearing in just 26 games for the Knicks, though still put up a 2010 double-double.
Patrick Ewing making the list.
Mm-hmm.
Number 26 on this list, BJ. Joakim Noah here. Seasons overpaid versus underpaid. 7 over, 8 under. Real value estimated at $84 million. Career earnings $139 million. Difference about negative 39.5%. Joakim Noah just barely made the back end of this list while having so many injured seasons on huge contracts. Just goes to show what an elite player he was prior to his injuries, and both the minutes on both ends of the floor, with a flair for playmaking and getting into opponents' heads. After signing a 4-year, $72.6 million contract with the Knicks in the summer of 2016, Noah would play just 100 more regular season games while earning top dollar. His most overpaid campaign coming in 2017-2018 when he made $17.8 million to appear in 7 games.
All right, we're going to move on up to number 25, and I think until we get to the top 10, we should go a little bit more rapid fire, if that's all right with you. I'll try to cut down on how much you read for each of these players. But number 25 on the list is Evan Turner. He was overpaid in 7 of his 10 seasons, or at least up to this point. His real value is just a shade under $43 million, but he has made over $98 million in his career, which is a difference of negative $55.2 million, or 56.26%. He got a big deal in the summer of 2016, and that's not the only player that's going to be brought up for what happened in the summer of 2016 and some of the deals that were given there. But Turner at 25, Drew.
Man, oh man, Evan Turner. I almost forgot about Evan Turner.
I know. You kind of do. After the LeBron Cavs beat the Pacers, or no, that was the Heat. I'm so sorry that. But yeah, after they had those battles in the Eastern Conference Finals, it just is like, where'd he go? What's he doing now?
Number 24, Jan Mahimi. Seasons overpaid versus underpaid. 8 overpaid, 5 under. Real value at $28 million. Career earnings at $84.1 million. Difference at minus 66.9%. And his most overpaid season of his career came in 2018-2019, when the center averaged 4.1 points and 3.8 rebounds on 45.2% shooting over 34 games, 6 of which were starts. He did that while earning $16 million, $14 million more than real value had him worth that season.
Number 23 on the list is Bismack Biyombo, who he's been overpaid in 9 of his 11 seasons to this point. His real value is $31.7 million compared to the $88.9 million that he has earned in his career, which is almost 65% more difference. And he's another one that got a big deal in the summer of 2016, that 4-year, $72 million contract, and they regretted the Magic, that is, regretted making that deal enough that they traded him away a couple of years later. He was most overpaid in 2018-19 when with the Hornets, he put up 4.4 points and 4.6 rebounds while earning $17 million.
And so far, I think the best player on this most overpaid list is Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing for sure, by far.
Yeah. All right, number 22, Kevin Love. Seasons overpaid versus underpaid, 9 overpaid, 5 underpaid. Real value, $180 million. Career earnings $237.9 million. Difference negative 24.2%. Man, man.
That's one of the lowest differences we've seen to this point. Like he did earn a lot of what he was, like he was very valuable, and there was a reason why he was earning the money that he was being paid early in his career.
Big part of that 2016 championship, earned his money in those days for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Future Hall of Famer's most overpaid season came in 2020 and 2021 when he made $31.3 million while averaging 12.2 points on 40.9% shooting. A campaign real value deemed worth $7.7 million, a $23.5 million difference.
All right, and we're up to number 21, and we're going back to the New York Knicks, who overpaid Allen Houston. He was overpaid 11 of his 13 seasons. His real value is worth $58.274 million, but he earned over $117.5 million in his career, which is a difference of almost $60 million, or basically half of his career earnings. Got some of his biggest boost in profile because of playing with the Knicks. Houston gave him a 6-year, $100 million contract. Houston parlayed that into a 6-year, $100 million contract with the Knicks in the summer of 2001, but he would only play 4 seasons of that deal because he had recurring knee problems. So his worst year, he was earning he was worth $3.4 million, but was being paid $17.5 million in just 20 games.
Golly.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, getting overpaid 11 of your 13 seasons is crazy. Is that the most lopsided we've seen so far?
It's up there. It has to be one of the ones up there.
Biombo is 9 and 2.
Biombo's too young, I think, to really be that high up. But we also still got, we're in the top 20 now, so there might be somebody worse.
Right? Who knows? Let's take a look at number 20 here. It's Al Horford on the list. He was overpaid 7 of his 15 seasons so far. He's still playing. Real value estimated at $183.6 million. Career earnings $243.2 million. Difference at minus 24.5%. Al Horford shouldn't come as a surprise that Horford's 2 most overpaid seasons came during that contract. During his 1 year in Philadelphia, the former Florida Gator averaged 11.9 points and 6.8 rebounds while earning $28 million. Real value valued his play at $11.7 million that year, an overpayment of $16.3.
So 2 of the former Florida Gators that were part of those back-to-back championship teams under Billy Donovan have been on this list so far. All right, we're going up to number 19. Alonzo Mourning is next up on this list. He was overpaid in 12 of his 16 seasons. Real value was just $83.1 million, but he earned nearly $144 million, a difference of $60.78 million. Of course, he had to retire after developing a rare kidney condition in the 02-03 season, as well as most of the following campaign, because prior to having to do that in his prime, he was one of the better two-way centers in basketball. Again, though, I mean, that's one of those that it happens and you hate that because he was such a great player.
Right.
He was paid rightfully for his $20.6 million for the 02-03 season that he missed out on, but since he didn't play at all, that is by far the biggest chunk of money that he was overpaid because he got every bit of it, which he deserved, but he didn't play.
Well, but still, I mean, look at this. He's right on the borderline with this other one. 12 seasons of his 16 overpaid.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there with 11 of the 13.
Well, we'll see if there's anybody worse than that here in a little bit.
Number 18, Chris Bosh. Seasons overpaid 8 of his 16. Real value estimated at $180.8 million. Career earnings $242.1 million. Difference negative 25.3%. And real value doesn't believe Bosh was obscenely overpaid in his career, with most of his overpaid season coming in 2014 when he earned $19.1 million while averaging 16.2 points and 6.6 rebounds on 51.6% shooting. Real Value believes that season by Bosch was worth $11.3 million for a difference of 7.8.
Yeah, and this one's really inflated because of the Supermax, where he was basically not playing for like 2 or 3 seasons, but they still paid him out because he had stopped playing with the blood clots. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's another former.
This is a good one.
Yeah, this is another former LeBron
I expected
teammate.
to see this guy on this list.
I thought he would be higher up, honestly.
I was about to say that too. I was about to say he should have probably been higher, but he's here.
Well, 10 of his 11 seasons he was overpaid.
Real
value was only just a shade over $20 million, but he got over 80 in his career. That's a difference of 62 million nearly, which is 3/4 of his career earnings. He should have been overpaid. Do you have a guess? Obviously, I know you know it, Drew, but if you don't at home, we're talking about Timofey Mozgov. He was, again, another name that was signed to a big 2016 offseason contract, which may just go down as one of the worst season or like off seasons in terms of for teams that were paying and free agents. I mean, just some of the deals that were given out because of that new media rights that they had signed in that season. It's just mind-boggling. But he got a 4-year, $64 million contract from LA, and it was immediately bad. He would only play in 85 more NBA games in his career.
Oh, LeBron had teams believing he was that dude.
Oh man, and it was part of. I mean, it felt like he ended up being a part of that deal to get LeBron back get LeBron to LA. Was that they had to give up the last little bit of Mozgov's contract? I don't know, maybe not.
Number 16, former Dallas Maverick Harrison Barnes, overpaid in 6 of his 10 seasons. Real Value estimated at $86.2 million. Career earnings $148.6 million. Difference negative 41.99%. Basically negative 42%. According to Real Value, Barnes has been overpaid by approximately $62.4 million, which is the biggest disparity in actual value versus real value, taking place in 2018-2019 when he put up 16.9 points and 4.7 rebounds on 42% shooting. Barnes earned $24.1 million that season, while Real Value had him worth $8.7 million for an overpay of $15.4 million.
Yeah, he got a big deal in 2016, but he actually played well through it for the most part until that, as you mentioned, that 18-19 season. But I mean, kind of surprised to see that he had made it on here, but it does make sense all in all.
Right.
Up to number 15, we've got former Brooklyn Net Joe Johnson. He was about half and half, 9 seasons overpaid, 9 underpaid. He earned in his career 100, or I should say his real value was 155 million, but his career earnings were 217.5 essentially $1 million, which is a difference of over 62 or almost 30%. He was better than his reputation indicates. His most overpaid season came in 2015-2016 when he split time with the Nets and the Heat, averaging 12 points and 4 assists on 44% shooting while making $22 million, but being valued at only $6 million that season.
Oh, Mr. Joe Johnson, still hooping in the big 3 right now, too.
That's right.
Balling.
Joe.
Number 14, Theo Ratliff.
Man, forgot about him.
Overpaid in 12 of his 16 seasons. Real value, $39.5 million. Career earnings, $102.3 million. Difference, negative 61.39%. Due to his injuries later in his career, Ratliff wasn't able to live up to a 3-year, $35 million extension he got from the Blazers in 2004. The primary time he was overpaid, according to Real Value. After that extension, Ratliff played more than 55 games in a season just once and fewer than 50 games 5 times.
Crazy. Here's a name I didn't expect to see on here because it doesn't feel like he's played enough.
Oh, no, it makes sense because somehow he gets so much money.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure how, but it'll make sense when we tell you. Nicholas Batum is number 13 on the list. He's been overpaid in 10 of his 14 seasons. Real value is about $104 million, but he's earned over $168 million in his career, which is a difference of $64 million or 38%. Fine player, versatile swingman, not quite on the level of some of the contracts that he has signed in his career, though. Again, another 2016 offseason, Drew. What have we been saying? The recurring theme. 5 years, $120 million, cha-ching, hello, which was one of the bigger overpays in recent memory. Biggest overpay came in 2019-2020 when he was paid $25.5 million by the Hornets. Only appeared in 22 games, averaging 3.6 points per game, and he was only valued at $3 million that year.
He had one nice little season and just fooled everybody, and he got a bag for it.
Looks like it. Yeah.
I don't even know. Batum's out here finessing. Number 12, Jermaine O'Neal. Seasons overpaid. 12 of his 18 seasons. Real value at $104.2 million. Career earnings $168.7 million. Difference negative 38.24%. O'Neal's most overpaid season, according to Real Value, came in 2009-2010, his lone season in Miami, when he made $23 million while putting up just 13.6 points and 6.9 rebounds over 70 games, an overpay of $16.5 million per their metric. Jermaine O'Neal, nice little player.
Jermaine O'Neal, I'd forgotten about him. I love those Pacers unis from the early 2000s that he's rocking in that picture.
Yeah, do they still have them?
I thought they may have brought some of elements of it back for the 75th anniversary season, but it was not that specific uniform.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back 100%. Number 11 on this list, one of the top draft choices from the disastrous 2013 draft. I think he went number 2, if I'm not mistaken, Drew. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It's Otto Porter Jr. He's been overpaid in 6 of his 9 seasons thus far. Real value is only about $62.3 million, but he's finessed that into $128+ million, which is a difference of over half of his career earnings. He got overpaid 2016 offseason yet again. Well, actually, no, it was not the 2016 offseason, but the 2017 offseason. 4 years, $106.5 million agreement after just 2 seasons of somewhat impressive play from Porter. He hadn't made an all-star team, but Washington gave him the deal, and that was one that they would come to regret because his most overpaid season came in 2020 and 2021, averaging just under 10 points a game for 28 games while he was injured quite a bit, and earned $28.5 million, which is $22.5 million overpaid from what he was supposed to make, according to those numbers.
Still hadn't made that all-star team.
Nope.
Isn't going
the time is ticking. He's not.
It's ran out. He ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Number 10.
Always better than Anthony Bennett, though.
Number 10, Kevin Garnett.
That's the best player we've had on this list all time.
Seasons overpaid out of his career, 17 out of 22 of his seasons. Real value at $272.5 million, $272.5 million. Career earnings $343.8 million. Difference of negative 20.74%. Garnett spent a long time in the NBA, 21 years, as a matter of fact. So all the campaigns in their metric considered him slightly overpaid. It added up. Garnett's most overpaid season came, shockingly enough, in 2008-2009, when he averaged 15.8 points and 8.5 rebounds while earning $24.8 million, an overpay of $10.6 million per real value. Not too drastic of a mark for a player who was still an all-star that year and helped guide Boston to 62 wins.
Hey, I tell you what, if the Celtics think they overpaid that year, they're eternally grateful for overpaying that year because that's still their most recent title. And also love the Timberwolves logo that he's rocking in that picture. All right, we're up in the top 10. Number 9 is Brian Grant from the Phoenix Suns. Blazers were focused on trying to buy a winner in the late 90s, early 2000s, which meant they gave out a lot of big contracts, especially for the time. Brian Grant got 6 years, $56 million, after which he averaged just 13.5 points and 7 rebounds over 3 not-so-special seasons. He was overpaid in 10 of his 13 career years, earning a real value of $38 million while being paid almost $110 million, or 65.3%. Miami also followed that up by giving Grant a 7-year, $86 million deal. He was most overpaid in 05-06 when illness was about to cut his career short, as he averaged just 3 points per game that year over 21 appearances, while earning $16 million, which was an overpay by $15.6 million.
Man, oh man. Big money here.
Big money, no whammies, but we got big money, all whammies here today, Drew.
Yeah, big difference right there. Number 8, Blake Griffin. Overpaid 7 of his 13 seasons, real value at $186.4 million, career earnings $258.4 million. Difference, negative 27.5%. Griffin's most overpaid season wouldn't come until his last year in 2021-2022, when he was on the last season of a monster contract. Not his last year, until last year. Excuse me. He was on a monster contract, making $32.4 million to average 6.4 points, 4.1 rebounds over 56 games. Real value valued his worth that season at $3.6 million, an overpay of $28.8 million.
Man, oh man.
Pew!
We're up to number 7. Here's a prominent name that a lot of people will know.
Still not the best on the list.
Not the best on the list, no, but he's part of a championship pedigree that we've had here in the recent years. It's Klay Thompson. He's been overpaid in 6 of his 11 seasons. Real value is $113.3 million, but he's been paid almost $186 million, which is a difference of 39%, or almost $72.5 million. And it's because of injuries that he's considered as one of the most overpaid players. He missed 2 entire seasons because of the ACL injury from 2019-2020 through the 2020-2021 season. He had $68.1 million combined over those 2 campaigns, and $0 real value because he didn't play. So he rocketed up into the top 10 because of that. And his first season back was struggled statistically as well. 20.4 points on 43% shooting in 32 games, while still making nearly $38 million. Man, oh man. We're getting pretty prominent names up here, but we're almost to the top 5.
Yeah, going after Klay there. Now they're going for number 6 here, John Wall.
Yeah.
Expected to see him on the list.
Yeah.
Overpaid 8 of his 12 seasons. Real value at $156.7 million. Career earnings $229.2 million. Difference of negative 31.6%. A max player. In his era of enormous salaries, injuries caused John Wall to go from being a top 5 point guard in basketball and missing 2 full seasons of action, only playing 40 games between those 2 years in 21-22, when he averaged 20.6 points on 40% shooting for Houston. In those 2 seasons, he sat out. Wall earned $82.5 million, which shot him up this list. And in that season, he did play in between. He made $41.3 million, a $28.6 million overpay according to Real Value.
We're in the top 5. I'm not surprised to see this man's name on this list.
Shoot him up higher. So much.
Shoot him up higher. Former Maverick. You know him. You love him. Maybe.
He's on the thumbnail.
Unless you paid for him in your career, if you're Mark Cuban or a different owner, you know him. You love him. It's Chandler Parsons, of course, ladies and gentlemen. 6 of his 9 seasons, he was overpaid. He earned a real value of just under $50 million. But he has finessed his way to $127 million. Cha-ching. That's a difference of almost 61% and $77 million. Here's another 2016 offseason contract, Drew. 4 years, $94.5 million with the Grizzlies in the summer of 2016, which is considered by far one of the worst contracts ever doled out in NBA history. He was showing signs of injury troubles in the seasons prior to that, and then his career ended prematurely because of the injuries that would follow. Parsons played in 36, which is what? That would be 70 games. 25 would put it up to 95 and 5. So he played 100 games in 4 years, averaging 25 games per season in the last 4 years, or in the 4 years of his deal, and he never averaged more than 8 points in that span of time before being out of the league by age 32. In that season, he only played 5 games. He was paid $25 million for contributions that were deemed worth about $500,000. So, just $24.6 million overpaid.
Parson should be higher, brother. But
I agree.
all right, on into the top 4. Dikembe Mutombo at number 4 here, overpaid 16 of his 18 seasons, they say.
And you know what he's going to say about being on this list, right?
No. Real value is 63.9%. Career earnings of 143.6%. Difference negative 55.5%. I always want to say this 0.5 stuff. One of the best defenders of all time, Dikembe was extremely highly paid throughout his career, but mostly exaggerated. Mutombo, a shot blocking, rebounding specialist, never developed much of an offensive threat outside lobs and near bucket finishes. Ranked top 11 in salary 9 times throughout his 18-year career, even peaking at the league's second highest paid player in 04-05 when he made $19.5 million. Unsurprisingly, that year was Mutombo's most overpaid campaign per real value, as he averaged 4 points, 5.3 rebounds, over 80 appearances, and overpay of $17.3 million, according to the Metro.
Okay, we're getting pretty close to the top.
Top 3.
Number 3 is Gordon Hayward, who's been overpaid in 8 of his 12 years. I can understand why. Real value is only about $129 million, maybe just a tick under, but he's earned over $209 million in his career. That's a difference of $80 million, or a slick 38.5%. He played his way into a max deal with the Celtics because of his all-star type 3-level scoring to go along with the solid rebounding and playmaking from the wing. He had his best campaign before signing the max deal, putting up 22 points, 5 boards, and 3 assists in the lone all-star campaign of his career, but it's been all downhill from there. As he suffered horrific leg injury within minutes of his regular season Celtics debut. He struggled to stay healthy ever since. From 18-19 to 21-22, Hayward missed nearly a third of his potential regular season games for a myriad of reasons, all while getting paid the big bucks. So injuries kept him on this list because of that and why he's been overpaid. He has not been producing at the value of a 4-year, $127.8 million contract. He is
paying him too.
Mm-hmm. And they will.
That's the problem. Number 2 here, Juwan Howard, overpaid 14 of his 19 seasons. Real value 67.6. Career earnings 151.8. Difference negative 55.46. By his 3rd season, Juwan was already the league's 7th highest paid player, making more than back-to-back Finals MVP Hakeem Olajuwon and perennial Defensive Player of the Year Alonzo Mourning. And by 99-2000, he was 4th in the NBA in salary. Juwan didn't develop much after his first 2 seasons, never making another All-Star campaign and experiencing little team success late in his career. Howard's most overpaid season came in 2002-2003 when he was earning $20.6 million while averaging 18.4 points over 77 games, a 13.4 overpay according to Real Value.
All right. He also got overpaid by Michigan though as well.
Underpaid? You mean under the?
Overpaid in terms of what he brought value wise versus what they've been able to do. But
fair enough.
Anyway, I digress. All right, Drew.
Number 1, finally.
The number 1 overpaid NBA player of all time. Overpaid in 17 of his 19 career seasons, but I cannot be mean to this man because he is partially responsible for helping the Mavericks to win their only franchise NBA Finals trophy. It's Tyson Chandler. 17 of 19 seasons he was overpaid. Real value was only about $100 million, but he earned $189.5 million, almost half of his career earnings were overpaid. He's one of the only players to ever win an NBA, a world, and an Olympic title in his career. Also made an All-Star team, was Defensive Player of the Year once, but mostly because he was playing the years that he played, and his prime was enough to earn huge contracts. 6 years, $64.4 million from Chicago, 4 years, $55.4 million contract from Dallas, and 4-year, $52 million deal with Phoenix. He was not obscenely overpaid for any one season, but the fact that he played for so long while earning so much money is why he finds himself at the top of the list. Most overpaid year came in 2018-19 when he made $13.6 million to average 3.1 points and 4 rebounds a game, an overpay of $11.5 million, Drew.
All right. BJ, see if you can do this for yourself as well. I'm calculating my top 5 most overpaid players based on this list. Obviously, Chandler Parsons is making this list.
Mm-hmm.
John Wall would make it as well. The 2 out of 5. So I'm scrolling back through here. Ooh, that's tough. Nicholas Batum, we put him on here for 3.
Batum, yeah.
Just at least in my era.
Yeah.
For Timofey Mozgov. 4.
Mozgov's got to be 1, and then it really just depends on who you look at. I'm looking down here, Drew, and I mean maybe Biyombo is on here potentially.
Biyombo probably based on this list, yeah. He's got some unorthodox money.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Biyombo that's last. So
yeah.
So the most overplayed, Biyombo, Mozgov, and you said we had Chandler Parsons. We had, of course, Nicholas Batum and John Wall.
Yep.
All right.
Yes, indeed.
That's pretty pricey starting 5 there, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not a bad list here. I feel like I saw a different version of the list like yesterday because I swear I saw one, and I thought it was Hoops Hype that had John Wall at number 1, and I feel like I liked that list a little bit better. It didn't have some of these players on it. So, I mean, maybe it was just late at night and I was seeing things. I don't know, but
I think those 5 that we mentioned just earned another $10 million while we were reading those deals. Like that's how crazy these deals are.
Yeah, it's a lot of overpay going on, but definitely stick out. I mean, Timofey Mozgov, we know that one was one of the critical ones. We all know about Chandler Parsons, and then John Wall just being out for an obscene amount of time, and then barely playing nowadays for all that money he got. Definitely some guys that slide up in that top crew for me. That's a crazy list, and that's way too many to run through in an episode that's not just about that. So in the future, that will be its own independent content if it's that big of a list. If it's like 10, then okay, I get it. We can get through that a lot faster.
I thought we were trying to speed things up and go a little bit quicker, and it's still stretched on.
But I mean, it's just in time for BJ's best.
That it is, Drew, and that means that it's time to shift gears, and we'll talk. Well, Drew, you know what tonight is? It's a little bit of a holiday. If you are, not because they're not playing, Drew.
They're not playing, but
they will never play in this, Drew. I don't know what you're thinking, because this is something that did not come about until after their era had already ended. I'm talking, of course, about the NFL kickoff games. Of course, this is week 1 of the NFL season that starts here tonight with Kansas City hosting Detroit, and they didn't start making this into its own event until after the Cowboys had already ended their run of 5 Super Bowls in the first 30, and they'll never win another one again. So we don't have to worry about this as Cowboys fans. But I just want to talk a little bit about how this came about, because it hasn't always been the case where we had the defending Super Bowl champion open like in a primetime atmosphere all by themselves. Usually it was just they would play the start of the next season along the same time as everybody else in on that first Sunday after Labor Day. But you go back and it was 21 years ago. So we saw this introduced back in 2002 that the kickoff game was first introduced. And it was not in 02 and 03. It was not the defending Super Bowl champion that would host it that in those first 2 years. So in 02, the New York Football Giants hosted the San Francisco 49ers on the NFL kickoff game, and neither one of those teams had won the Super Bowl the previous year. It was the Niners picking up a win 16-13 over the Giants in that game. And then 03 saw Washington. I probably shouldn't say what they used to be. That we'll just say redacted. Washington defeated the New York Jets by a score of 16-13. Also, same score next year, which was pretty crazy. So Washington was the first home team to win, but 04, Brady baby. Brady and the Patriots, Belichick and company, had just won the Super Bowl the year prior, and they got to host the Indianapolis Colts. So you got to see primetime first game of the year, Brady Manning to start the year in 04, which was a good matchup. New England ended up winning that one 27-24. They hosted the next year and beat the Raiders 30-20, and so on and so forth. The defending Super Bowl champions would go on and host it year after year. And that's why tonight you see Kansas City, the defending Super Bowl champion, hosting the Detroit Lions. The only time, Drew, and I think you remember this, the only time that the defending Super Bowl champions were in the prime time or in the NFL kickoff game but did not host it. Do you happen to remember when this happened? It's the only time it's ever happened where the defending Super Bowl champion was not hosting the NFL kickoff game. They had to be on the road for it.
Was it 5 years ago?
No.
I have no idea.
Pretty good guess, though. It was double that. It was 10 years ago. 2013, the defending champion Baltimore Ravens had to go on the road because there was already a previously scheduled Orioles baseball game on the same day. So Baltimore had to go to Mile High Stadium and play the Denver Broncos. And that was the night that Peyton Manning threw 7 touchdowns against the Ravens in the Broncos win. So that's the only time that the defending champions have opened up on the road. In 2019, the Patriots, who were the defending champions, did not play at all in the kickoff game, as that year it was the start of the NFL's 100th anniversary season. So the league decided to kick off the year with Green Bay and Chicago, one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL, as part of their kickoff game. I believe they got to be the Sunday night football game that weekend to make up for it, since they didn't play on Thursday. But that's the only time since it was debuted and kicked off with the 04 season of the defending Super Bowl champions hosting, where they were not the team that would be hosting or the team that played in it at all. So funny enough, Drew, it's been pretty solidly home teams winning. When you have the defending Super Bowl champion, they get off to a great start the next year. The home team has won all but 5 times since the history of the NFL kickoff game began back in 2002. Of course, San Francisco defeating the New York Giants in 2002 in the first game, but it's only happened 4 other times since then. 2012, when the Cowboys defeated the defending champion New York Giants. That was a good one. That was only the second time it happened. It happened again in 2017 when the Chiefs defeated the defending champion New England Patriots. And it happened in 2019 when the Packers defeated the Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago. It also happened just last year, Drew, with the Bills taking down the defending Super Bowl champion LA Rams by a final score of 31-10. So that's a little look back. And if you had to pick one right now, Drew, there's not going to be a Travis Kelce tonight. There's a lot of new pieces.
Oh, come on. Believe in Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's the since Brady's not here anymore, that's the guy that you talk about. I mean, that's the insert here. Whatever you said about Tom Brady, insert Patrick Mahomes right here. oh, there's a minute left on the clock. You don't want to leave a minute left for Patrick Mahomes.
You don't want to leave 13 seconds for Patrick Mahomes.
It doesn't matter who's in that lineup or who's lining up on that line of scrimmage for Patrick Mahomes. Just like it hardly didn't have the time for Tom Brady. He's going to get it done just because he makes magic happen. Sky Moore is going to have a career game or something tonight, and I'll cry because he's on my bench right now. I might need to start. I'm really nervous. I think I will, to be honest.
Make the change right now. Go make the change right now. We'll see it.
AJ decided in real time for me. DeAndre Swift, Sky Moore, flex.
Sky Moore, 100%.
Okay, 100%. All right. Sky Moore it is, coming out the flex. Or Kyle Pitts.
I would say Sky Moore. If you want to play Swift, who's your running back situation?
Oh, I'm studded running back, Chubb and Henry.
Yeah, then you don't need to worry about Swift.
Wait, is that the right league? Oh my gosh.
We got to get that figured out. But
yes, it is. Yeah, Chubb and Henry in that league. Yeah.
You're not buying the Lions Renaissance. No. Okay. Well, I thought I might see if you might be thinking upset. I like what the Lions have, but I don't know if they've got.
No, it'll be an interesting game though. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lions are no slouch, and I think they're healthy now. So I mean,
I'm excited to see what it's going to look like for sure.
Fun Thursday night football for sure.
Yeah, but that is the history of the NFL kickoff game, and that is BJ's best. Happy week 1 to all of those that will be celebrating the NFL season coming back and starting.
Happy week 1 and a good BJ's best.
Thank you, Drew. Last one of season 3.
Huh? Oh yeah, last one of season 3 indeed. I mean, you're technically your 50th BJ's best as well too.
More than that, Drew.
Maybe. Oh wait,
we started them late in season 2. So
wait, is it?
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know. We'll have to.
We have to go back and count.
My numbers wrong, BJ? No, I think it's. I don't know. I'm scared now. Don't tell me that. Now I thought I fixed everything.
Well, we have had some guests that we didn't do our personal segments on.
Yeah, so we should. I should be right. I should be right. We should be on with that.
Well, if you've got
more, we have those missed episodes with guests, and then those other ones, the one I did solo. So I should be right. Don't make me trip and think I'm doing it wrong because I fixed those things. We're on track.
If you went back and did the math, I trust your math. I trust my math. If that was my 50th BJ's best, well, that's a pretty good one.
There you go.
Maybe 1 out of every 10 have been good so far.
Oh my gosh! Come on, be more generous with yourself than that.
I know. I'm only teasing.
Man. It's about that time, PJ. And I always just want to let the people know about what they can get with our partners at TeePublic. Man, oh man, our partners are lovely people. It's time to get that wardrobe updated for fall because it is around the corner. It'll be here before you know it. And hoodies and crew necks are available for purchase thanks to our partners at TeePublic. There's no sale right now, but you can still get the gift of free shipping on orders $80 or more. That is right. Free shipping on orders $80 or more. Make sure you use the link in the description to get your fit right for the fall.
Yeah, Drew, I can't think about anything that's for cooler weather when it's still 104 degrees down here today. Oh, my goodness. Oh, sheesh. I want the cooler weather, but I might have to go without a sweatshirt for a couple days just to embrace it. And then my buddy says, no, it's too cold. You need something to warm back up. So we'll make sure we head over to our friends at TeePublic when that day comes so I can warm myself up with some hot merch. But with the start of the NFL season, I'm proud to announce that our friends over at Fanatics have a deal for you. You can get all kinds of new season, new gear just in time for the NFL season kicking off this weekend. They've got a deal going on for you. This offer only good for 48 hours, and the time is ticking, up to 65% off select items, and you can get free U.S. shipping on orders over $24 by using the promo code 24SHIP. It's not just the NFL season arriving that has this in store. You can get yourself some of the Nike Zoom Pegasus that just dropped. It's time to get those college gear. If just starting back to school, you've got time to do that. MLB season coming down to the wire. You got time to get your playoff merchandise and get that all ready in gear. So again, use the promo code 24SHIP at fanatics.com. You've got a little less than 5 hours if you're listening live right now to get this deal. They're going to have some other deals coming up this weekend, though. If you miss it, it's okay. just be on the lookout, and don't forget about becoming a Fanatics MVP to get exclusive weekly deals that only our Fanatics MVPs are able to see. So that's what's in store at fanatics.com, which is officially licensed everything. And now, Drew, as we do every week, it's time to find out for the last time in the season 3 show what is on Drew's mind.
Boom. Well, BJ, first and foremost, look at that cool jersey over there. It's awesome.
I see that cool jersey.
Baseball jersey, Asia Wilson, limited edition. Shout out to the homie that got me hooked up with that. Anyway,
nice
that's not what's on Drew's mind. I wish I could wear it, but it's a little wrinkly. I was going to wear it today, but I changed my mind. What's on Drew's mind today, BJ? It's time to get a little creative, and I'll try to get just as creative as we go forward into season 4 a little bit more often here. This one was hard because I'm only a month and a half in down here, but I've got 5 things.
I know you've been asking for another care box that you need to be shipped, so I'm interested to see what is on the list.
Yes, indeed. 5 things. It was hard to get to 5 because I wasn't sure what I want to use, and some of them are kind of in the same one. So, and it's only been a month and a half, of course. So I'm sure I can find.
I'm sure I can guess a couple, but I will hold off.
Oh, for sure. You definitely know about one on the list, for sure. And I went ahead and made it number 1 on the list, and that is Bluebell ice cream.
Okay. I was gonna say, you want me to go see if I can find the pint in the freezer and hold it up to show you, so you get at least a little bit of osmosis, maybe.
The craving for ice cream is so bad out here just because I can't get to Bluebell. I was literally just driving, from work the other day, and I was like, "Oh, Blizzard sounds great. Pull in there, Dairy Queen. Take one." Anyway, yeah, no Bluebell around here. It's really sad. That's one of the things you definitely cannot get in South Dakota, at least not around here. So you got to settle for whatever secondary brand, third brand, or have it shipped to you for the bajillion dollars that it costs, which somebody's got to have a whole lot of money or just love you way too much to send that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 on the list, and this is just so far. I haven't tried a whole bunch of restaurants per se, but it's really not looking good so far, and I haven't heard great reviews otherwise as well. The second thing that Texans can't get in South Dakota is spicy salsa. It's pretty mid out here so far. It's pretty disappointing. The best you can get to spicy is what you're used to grabbing at the stores, the paste, the hot, whatever in the jars. Those aren't even good. Nobody likes the big chunks I don't really like the big chunks like that anyway. And it's not as good as, you go to a restaurant, your salsa, like the Juan Pablos of the world and the Chili's and things like that back in Texas. Yeah. But no good salsa so far. Pretty mid, pretty bland. Nothing, deliciously delicious out here. It's a pretty sad world. Pretty sad in that regard. Number 3 thing that Texans can't get in South Dakota, BJ, and it's probably just because it's not down here in general, but they should still sell it in Walmart for people like me, and that is spicy ketchup. You can't get that down.
Oh yeah, I was to say that because you don't have
regular ketchup.
You don't have Whataburger up in South Dakota, do you?
I know Whataburger. Not
so
that
that's
I know
probably part of the reason why you can't get the spicy ketchup.
There might be. I don't know, because Whataburger has branched out. There was one in Mississippi when I was doing those baseball games. I went to that Whataburger. It was delicious. I went like twice actually. I wish it was up here in South Dakota, but so far I've not seen it in the search for fast food. But I have not been to the biggest city in the state yet. Well, I came through it on the way in, but I've actually been to it twice. I just lied. But I haven't gone through it to go and really explore what's throughout it or anything. So
your closest might be Kansas City, believe it or not. I don't have a map or anything. I'm just thinking.
I don't know. I have to look into where the nearest Whataburger is. That'd be good. But my mom,
a weekend road trip.
Shout out to my awesome mom that's sent in a care package 2 giant bottles of spicy ketchup, not the regular ones that you just get and put in your fridge, and giant ones, not jugs, but
I've got a couple in my fridge or in my cabinet, so
I'm hooked up for a few months. So
okay.
The fourth thing that you can't get as a Texan fourth thing that Texans can't get in South Dakota is a good view on the road. BJ. There's a whole lot of corn out here in amongst your view on the sides. There's a whole lot of nothing sometimes, just land. Sometimes not even animals out there, just chilling or anything. Just land, just open land. Not any like cool signs or anything, like any small random business in the middle of between these two towns or whatever, and very hardly even a gas station.
Wow.
Dude, if I would have been running out on the way in here, I'd have been doomed. There's like
Nothing.
So on the way in originally, there was like one or two in like, oh man, a few hours stretch. I don't even know. Just like once I got out of Sioux Falls, there was maybe one on the last hour on the way home. So like if I didn't get it at the one place, which was not far outside the skirts of the town, the rest of the 45 minutes or whatever, there was nothing there. And like this drive to this town that I go get to food at, go get my food from Walmart at all the time, it's about 45 minutes to get over there. There is no gas station on the way there until you get into the town. So there have been 2 times now where I did not intentionally do this. I had, just like I had like, I don't know, I would just say a 16th of a tank, whatever. It was enough to make it. And it was just like barely enough. But like there was a point like on the drive, like the light would come on. I was do I have enough? And I know I just kept going. There was no way. I was already so far into the drive. There's no turning around. You're doomed, or you just got to keep going. I had just enough to get there both times, but it's so anxiety filled because a 45-minute drive to another town, not a single gas station on the route for you. You are doomed. It's just you, corn, some houses, some big old little mills or whatever. I don't even know what else is all out there. A whole bunch of stuff. It might be more Texan than Texas.
Oh my goodness!
But
so
not the greatest views on the road. It's mostly corn and food.
So no views on the road. What do the sunsets compare like? I know there's been some beautiful sunsets in Texas. Do you have that same in South Dakota or no?
I don't know. I haven't really got to bask in it just yet. So I'll have to get back to you on reviews about the sunset.
Sounds good.
Yeah. But yeah, not great views on roads. Pretty boring. So you better have one of those fancy cars that's got little monitors in there. You can watch a little movie or something. Have a great road playlist or have some entertainment. Somebody to talk to on the way.
Or maybe just drive. Maybe just drive.
Solo trip is boring. It's boring. It get boring every once in a while. That's because you're used to you're listening to your music and looking at some stuff, some scenery,
like billboards,
reading something, but it's corn and fields and sometimes animals, not many.
It's corn, man.
An F ton of corn. But yeah, that's what you get up here. And finally, number 5. At least I haven't seen it yet. I tried to do an extra search to make sure that it wasn't around to verify. And it's really sad because I would really love to have this up here because it was a staple. It was a fast food restaurant that I went to often. BJ, do you know what I'm about to say? It's not up here.
Is it Brahms?
No, but I was going to use Brahms. That is a good one. It is not up here as well. But
yeah, I was saying they can only have them within a certain distance of their farms.
Yeah. So, I went with Sonic. I've not been aware of a Sonic up here so far. I think actually, and I might be wrong here, so I can flip this to actually being Brahms. But I believe because originally when I searched, I had searched for a Sonic. And I thought it was one of the fast food restaurants that was going to be in this town, but it's not. So it's probably nearby, and I just didn't get it when I searched recently. So let's pretend it's not Sonic. Let's fill that in with Brahms there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like you've got 4 in the whole entire state, Drew. 1 in Sioux Falls and 3.
Okay, there is 1 in Sioux Falls. Okay, I'm going to go with Brahms then. That was my original thought. All right, we'll go with Brahms then. You can't get Brahms down here, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can understand why.
I'm gonna go find a Sonic now because that sounds good. Whenever I go to Sioux Falls, where's it at?
You got 3 in Rapid City as well. I don't know where that is in relation to you, but
well, those are 5 things you can't get as a Texan here in South Dakota. I'll run back through them: Blue Bell ice cream, spicy salsa, spicy ketchup, a good view on the road, and Brahms.
Love it.
And that is what's on Drew's mind.
Well, you weren't kidding in terms of when you said you had something creative. That's something unique that I don't know how many other people can say they've shared that experience.
Nope, not too many. Funny enough, though, I was reading news. It might have been earlier this week. I think it was earlier this week. There was a Texas man that was in Madison like 2 years ago that did something and just got convicted of it, or like was going through court recently. Like it was like a Carrollton, Texas, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I was like,
Very close to the metro.
what are you doing down here, Bubba? How'd you get in trouble? Well, the odds I'm reading about a Texas man in our news already. Hadn't even been 2 months, and a Texas man's in our stinking news getting in trouble.
As long as it wasn't a Florida man, Drew, I'll tell you that.
As long as that Texas man ain't me.
All right. Well, Drew, let's shift gears. We're going to talk some WNBA. We got a game tonight, a singular game, and then we have 2 more days of regular season action, Drew. The season, I don't know, does it seem like it went by much quicker to you this year than it did in previous years, even though there were more games?
Yeah. I mean, especially in a year where I wasn't like in full coverage mode like I usually am, it definitely like blew by. I mean, it was like nothing.
You blink and you miss it almost.
Yeah, I mean, the last game that I watched live was before I got down here. Whenever Vegas visited Dallas and Dallas got the upset win. Yeah. And that's been 2 months now. That's been 2 months, BJ. That's crazy to think about. Like 2 months has just flown by. Like ever since is that what it is? Since I left, time just decided to fly by over there in Texas. Like
I don't know. It was. I was gonna say it. At times it dragged. At times it went really stinking fast. I don't know. I don't know what to really equate it to. But yeah, it's almost been 2 months since you began your brave venture up there.
I thought it was like a slow start. I think that like it split up into halves. Like first half was like a slow. We're getting used to this 40-game season and what these teams are going to look like. And then once the All-Star break hit, just boom.
Oh yeah,
2 months. Okay, here we are. Yeah. Boom. MVPs into season awards right here. Which is where we're at right now, ladies and gents. I got my list. It didn't show too much. You couldn't see right there. I tried to do it fast enough. Couldn't focus. Yes, I was fast. I was going to go through first and second teams, but that always took me a while back when I was a voter, and I'm just not prepared for that yet. I'm in the struggle bus. I've got just barely half of the first 2 teams that don't even have defense worked out yet, so, I mean, it would be a while. But I've got our end-of-season awards, BJ, and I wish I had the clip, but I did keep the page in which I wrote the preseason awards on. Do you have your preseason awards by chance?
Not on me, no. I'm so sorry. I don't know where that has gotten off to.
Okay, well, only one of my preseason awards are matching up with my end of season.
Okay. Which one is it, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
You can't tell me?
You just have to wait. We're going through our end of season awards. Come on, let's get it. I want to go in the order that they're going to be released here, because the league had sent out a release back on the 30th of how they were going to release awards. We didn't do peak performers or Kim Perot sportsmanship awards or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we did do the rest. So they're starting off with their first one being a week from today. That's not the peak performers. Peak performers is on Monday if you want to count that. But executive of the year is next Thursday. So let's start with executive of the year. BJ, would you like to?
No, you go all 4, man.
All right. Executive of the year. It's a dude that did some moving around with his team in the offseason, retooled it, made it a super team. Jonathan Kolb out of New York. I mean, brought Stewie in, got John Quell, got Sloot. I mean, do I even have to continue at this point? I mean, just made the makings of a team that's going to compete for a championship. His team doesn't have a championship since ever have a championship at all. And now they've got the chance to do it. They won 30 games this season. I figured they would. Some of you guys were like, no, only the Aces will win 30 games. I was like, what about this New York squad? Maybe 2 teams will.
I would say they were the only 2 that could do it.
Yes, and they have won 30 games indeed and still got a chance to add. I'm going with Jonathan Kolb for executive of the year. I think this is one of the first years I haven't picked Dan Padover as the executive of the year. He was my preseason selection for it, though. for
Yeah, I think I remember. I can't remember who I had. It was I may have gone with the addition of Candace Parker. I may have gone at Vegas. I can't remember her name, but I it was either Kolb or the GM of the Aces, which I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. If you remember, just shout it out. I appreciate it. But at the end of the season, it is Jonathan Kolb. I mean, there's, in my opinion, what the everything that they did in the off season and the success they're seeing from it. If the award was given out preseason, there was only two candidates for it, and I still think there's really only two candidates for it. I'm going with Kolb as well.
There you go, Kolb, right here for Executive of the Year. Now let's take a look at Coach of the Year. That one's going to be released on Sunday, the 17th.
Okay, so
Coach of the Year this year. I had a back and forth here. I remember when we originally made these preseason picks that I accidentally wrote down and said the wrong name. I was thinking somebody else. But, she still would have been a good one if this team would have been able to finally put it together, and that would have been Christy Sides, who was my preseason pick. But I meant Stephanie White to write down originally, which I was in a battle right here between her and Cheryl Reeve for this spot right here. And I just couldn't help but to give it to Cheryl Reeve right here for Coach of the Year. Cheryl Reeve, the team was winless, 0-6 to start the season. Now they're going into the playoffs as possibly a 5 seed. I mean, that's just a phenomenal turnaround. They don't have a stud roster. I mean, Nafisa Collier is carrying the load. Ariel Powers has seen staggered minutes. I mean, they don't have an all-star lineup. Probably the only one that's going to make a first or second team anything is going to be Collier. Like I said, they've got some other pieces that are okay and some things that fit. But, the coaching has really been a part of what's put it all together and made things happen. And they might be able to piece it together and do something. But they're going to have a tough matchup no matter who they face. But Cheryl Reeve bringing that team from 0-6 to being what they are now. If they'd have just skirted into the playoffs, I'd have leaned Stephanie White. But since they're a 5th seed, I don't think they'll get 4 and pass the Wings or anything. But since they've gotten up to a 5th seed, I think that's significant enough to talk about. Let alone bringing them up to the playoffs is good, but being a 5 seed, not just bottom tier, but they almost made the first half of the playoff teams.
Yeah, from missing last year to 5 is a huge turnaround in a year, and so I don't fault you for that pick at all. I think that there's the overwhelming narrative that it would probably go to Sandy if they're not going to give it to Becky Hammond again. At least in my book, I think Sandy does deserve it because the attention is going to be on both of those teams, both the Aces and the Liberty, for what they've been able to do this year. And Sandy coming in, kind of the way that things ended in Phoenix, there was a little bit of uncertainty, but getting all these superstars and being able to coach them up, it's one of those that you really don't have to do a whole lot. You just kind of say, go do your thing. But I think Cheryl Reeve is a fantastic choice for it, Drew.
Yes, indeed. Cheryl Reeve, a legendary coach in her own right. Hope she's got a really good chance to get it. Her and Stephanie White, I think, are going to be like the final two that it comes down to for most people. Let's see. What do they have coming out next after that?
Is it 6 women of the year next?
Yeah, they got the back-to-back drops for awards. They're dropping again on Monday, the 18th, right after the Coach of the Year on the 17th, with 6th Player of the Year. 6th Player of the Year. This one, I had Alicia Clark for the preseason selection, and she was one of the final candidates kind of here for the end of season awards. And this one, this is me not putting her here towards her is kind of just, I don't want to add too many Aces players getting some awards and some stuff this year. No, I'm just kidding. It's not really it is a little bit, I'm not going to lie. But I just think that it's Dana Evans this year for 6th Player of the Year. She's provided the spark off the bench for the Sky in a year that's been, kind of up and down. They lost some players earlier in the year. They missed Izzy and Rebecca Gardner almost all year. James Wade jumping ship to go to Toronto, to Raptors, the NBA. And, regardless of it all, she's still been able to come into her own and not only be, a good player shooting the ball. She's a tenacious defender as well. She's averaging almost 9 points a game off the bench for the Sky, and she's been a part of the reason they're still in this race to make the playoffs, averaging
Absolutely.
about 21 minutes per game off the bench. I mean, she's been big time. She's first in scoring off the bench as well, and second in assists with 3 per game on the season. She scored in double figures 13 times and hit 2 or more threes on 8 occasions. And that's my 6th player of the year this year.
Yeah, I went a different route.
Dallas Wing could have been doing that with us, bro.
Yeah, definitely. I went a different route. I know we talked about a teammate of hers last week for a different award that we will give out here momentarily, but I think DeJohnny Carrington had a really good year. I think she's deserving of the 6th Woman of the Year award. So, she's had a fantastic run. I mean, one of the big reasons why Connecticut, they were getting disrespected. There's no doubt about it early in the season because of what they lost, but they haven't missed a step, and they're gonna. It looks like Drew, when they if they can handle a first round matchup, looking likely that it'll maybe be Atlanta, at least right now. If the season came to an end, they can handle a first round matchup. They're gonna get their chance to knock out the Liberty and make it back, and they might get another chance at the Aces.
Okay, not a bad pick there. I mean, still. A lot of good candidates here.
Oh, absolutely.
Player of the year. Next that they have dropping is most improved on Thursday, September 21st. Most improved.
Couple weeks from now.
Yes, indeed. 2 weeks from today as we record on a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Most improved for me. It's been most improved from the jump. Satu Sabali.
Yeah. There's no doubt that it's got to go to Satu this year. I mean, just what she's meant and really kind of putting herself out there, not just the All-Star appearance, but almost feeling like she's the first option when you have a team that has a Rike on it this year.
She's always been that type of player. She just had to be healthy and be able to put it together, and that's been my favorite thing about this season, BJ.
Yeah.
36 games played, 36 starts. That is twice as many
as she had before man, just crazy stuff. And like I said, I mean, we've been waiting for this for a couple of years, and there's no doubt in my mind it's got to go to Satu.
Yep, and career numbers in a healthy season, just under 19 points a game. Career high in that department. Career high in assists at 4.3. Career highs in rebounds 8.2. Career high from the field at 43%. Career high from 3 at 36%. I mean, effective field goal percentage just a shade under 50%.
Like, tell me who else if it's not Satu for whatever reason, which I can't imagine it not being, but who is even remotely kind of in the consideration based on what we've already mentioned about Satu?
Well, I don't have our numbers up, but Jordan Canada's had a really good year as well for LA. I mean, I believe she's the leader in steals for the season right now. It's like 2.2 per game. Her staple's always been defense, but she's been able to do a little bit more than just defend this year as well. But I just think when you're going up against a player like Satu, if she'd have won this award like I don't know, last year or something, or already had something like that in her belt, maybe you wouldn't be able to cross paths like this and have it go to somebody like Satu, but the improvement is just kind of undeniable for Satu in that jump.
Yeah.
But, I mean, other players like that are still, I mean, they got to get considered for the award as well.
I was going to say, we can look at the head-to-head comparison with Satu in Canada from our friends over at StatHead, and it's Satu overwhelmingly.
Oh, yeah.
18.8 points per game, 8 rebounds. Canada's got more assists per game and
she
more
just had
steals.
A 40 piece the other day. I mean, a career high 40 points. I mean, she's a unicorn, truly, man. I mean,
better field goal percentage, better 3-point, better free throw, and the All-Star.
Just better.
She's got to be the one that gets it.
But we'll give credit to Canada on her season. She's had a really good season, but Satu's just had an undeniably good season. I mean, there's one spot left for her on the first team, and I'm thinking about putting her there. I mean,
I wouldn't blame you.
That's how good of the season. I mean, she's an all WNBA player this year. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Just debating on whether I want to put not a single guard in this first team, but not like it matters. I mean, it's just
no, it really truly doesn't.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Satu is most improved for me
Has
as
to be.
well, and you're right there in agreement.
Mhm.
Next after that, September 26th, a Tuesday, they're doing MVP, and we already know where I stand on that.
Mhm.
BJ, Alyssa Thomas is the MVP. Who's your MVP?
Yeah, I mean, you made a great argument last week for Alyssa Thomas, and I was going to give her this award until what I saw Brianna Stewart do on Tuesday against the Wings. I think,
Okay.
yeah, Brianna
Okay.
Stewart. Brianna
Break the
Stewart's my
little
MVP.
record, huh? Break the little
Yeah.
record points in the season. You know what? She
No,
played
it's not
4
just
games.
because of that. It's
Okay.
not just because she scored the most points. I just look at what she's been able to do. She didn't get it last year, and she had another great year. Just every time out, Drew. She's the best basketball player on the court. Alyssa Thomas has had a fantastic year. I'm not denying that. I hope she wins the award because Stewie's got one, and it would be better for Alyssa Thomas and better for the sport if they give it to her this year. But to me personally, there's nobody better. There's no more valuable player to have out on the court this year or many years when she's been healthy and out on the court than Brianna Stewart.
Ooh, okay. Ain't no Asia love here. All right. Okay.
But she had a great year last year.
Girl.
I told you last year that she deserved it, and she does.
Right.
But Stewie, I mean, it just she continues to improve. It seems every year.
You see the boat I've been in for years, having to do these votes, man. It's been a stressful time.
It's so tough.
To
It
pick
is
through
tough.
it. But hey, I made the correct MVP vote every single year that I had them.
And I bet you're going to get it again this year,
Man,
if I'm being honest. But
don't let me go back and get my percentage numbers like what I got right in the end. Don't make me get the numbers. I got receipts too, just like Dion said. I got keep the receipt.
Let's not talk about Dion, man. I'm still scored from last year. That's all jokes. All jokes. He's doing a great job. He's doing a fantastic job.
Next on the list of awards, Monday, October 2nd, Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
That's the one that didn't change for me, BJ. It's Aaliyah Boston. It's always been Aaliyah Boston. She was an all-star. She might be all WNBA. Who knows?
She's very close. If she's not, I don't know how. But yeah, this is probably one of the easiest we've had all night, Drew. It's got to be Aaliyah Boston. That is your Rookie of the Year. I'm surprised they're doing MVP before the Rookie of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year.
I know the order just doesn't make sense. I think the NBA does that type of stuff too. It's just I don't know.
Crazy.
Defensive Player of the Year is the last one I believe we haven't hashed out yet. Yeah. Last one
and this one's pretty easy. I mean, we could say it on 3 at the same time if you want. All right, 1, 2, 3. Asia Wilson. Yeah.
Okay. All right, back to
There's
back. Defensive Player of the Years for Asia.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, 2 DPOYs and 2 MVPs already. That's all time.
That's a pretty star-studded.
People, you know what? I'm gonna feel better about this now because when we made the W25 list and we had that panel of voters vote on
last year, right?
On that one. No, it was 2 years ago.
Oh, that's right.
I put her in. I think she only had the 1 MVP and they didn't win a championship or anything yet. I put her in there prematurely a little bit. I was like how they had put Shaq in. I think it was the top 50 all-time players or something.
Yeah.
Back when they did him when he was in Orlando a little early before he got going. That was what I was doing there. And look at this. And if she wins the MVP, I mean, she's the best defensive player this year. She'll do the back-to-back season both. When was the last time that was done? MVP and defensive player back to back.
We'd have to go do some
MVP award, bro. 3 MVPs, 2 defensive player of the years. I think she's already equaled. She would equal Cheryl Swoops' total already.
Yeah,
I think. I don't know. I think that's right. Yeah, sure. I think Cheryl was 3 and 2. Yeah.
I gotta do some digging. That might be our stat of the episode when we get our first stat of the episode in season 4. If that does happen, at least, Drew.
I mean, in the very least, she's coming away with Defensive Player of the Year hard.
She has to.
Yeah. I mean, she's in the rare air company of back-to-back Defensive Player of the Years. And I don't even know if Cheryl's was back-to-back. She might be the only player in WNBA history that's gotten back-to-back Defensive Player of the Years and has 2 MVPs. I think there's only 2 former MVPs that have multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards. It's Cheryl and Lauren Jackson. I think Lauren has 2. If not, she has 1. I think she has 2. So, I mean, rare air either way, but Alyssa Thomas still the MVP. Anyway,
it's all good. It's better if we have different picks, honestly.
Oh yeah. It's always great. It's always great. I know my friend Kayla will like your pick of Stewie, big UConn and Connecticut fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
And last but not least, BJ, you have seen our graphic. Oh, you didn't try to jump the gun to put it here.
Hit the button, wrong button.
Oh, it is what it is, though.
It's been a long week, I'll tell you that.
Man, BJ needs a nap.
Yes, he does.
We got to take a look at our playoff picture from this last week that we created, and let's go ahead and get our advanced predictions look at for. Oops, didn't mean to make this background. Did I put that on the wrong one? Is it supposed to be on overlay?
It's supposed to be overlay. That's all good.
I put it on the wrong one. Silly me. We're going to take a look at our playoff picture. This is more than likely what it's going to end up as. I mean, we got 7 playoff teams locked in, and the only one that is not locked in is Chicago Sky. It's Chicago and LA battling for that final spot. It'll more than likely shake out like this, whether it's Chicago or LA over there in that spot versus the Aces.
Yeah, and everything that we predicted last week is not necessarily too far out of the realm. Like, I mean, I think it was the Sparks losing to the Storm, which I didn't predict, but I mean, that ends up helping the Sky out because now they are tied with 2 games remaining. And I mean, it's definitely one of those that's going to be earned, not given. The Sky have the edge right now with the head-to-head if they were to finish with the same record. But looking at the last 2, Drew, it's Minnesota at Chicago and Chicago at Connecticut. And then you've got the Sparks are playing at the Liberty. In fact, they've already got that one underway, and then they're at Seattle. So if the Sparks can somehow find a way to steal one in New York, things become really interesting. But it's one of those that we'll be watching Sunday to find out who's going to be the last team in. It's going to come down to Sunday.
Well, let's go ahead and break it down and see. We'll pretend that Chicago is the team there, BJ. Let's make our predictions here. Let's start with our 1 versus 8 seed. Best of 3 series in this first round. Aces, sweeping them in 3, no matter who it is for me. What about
Aces in 2, whoever it is. It's
sorry, in 2. My bad.
Yeah, it's all good. I know what you were meaning.
Yeah. Aces in 2. They will advance on to the next round. All right, let's go right across the frame here. New York and Atlanta. New York going to be forced to 3 games, but win it 2-1.
Yeah, New York will win the series in 3. I'm right there with you.
Okay. I think Atlanta are going to be randomly feisty in here. Tough little team. All right, back down to the left corner. It's getting in a little personal, BJ. Dallas Wings versus Minnesota Lynx in a best of 3.
Wings in 2. Wings in 2. Wings sweep.
Wings in 2? A sweep? Oh, okay, BJ.
Yeah. They defend the home court, and they don't need to go to Minnesota for that 3rd game.
Okay. Yeah. BJ, I had it up earlier. Hold on. I want to pull it back up. The Wings are one of the few teams that are above 500 at home that are coming into the playoffs. Well, there are, I believe, 6 teams. They're one of 6 teams. Wings 10-9 at home. They're actually the same on the road right now, but they're one of the about 5 or 6 playoff teams that are actually above 500 on the road, or on above 500 at home. Minnesota is not that way. But one thing that maybe should have mentioned that might have swayed your thinking, BJ, is that Minnesota 10-8 on the road, better on the road.
I was going to say, I still think they get away. I think that I just remember what it was not too long ago that the Wings went in and won in Minnesota, but lost at home and failed to defend the home court, if I'm not mistaken, against Minnesota.
Fair enough.
So I don't think they let that happen again.
I think this bad boy goes 3, though, BJ.
That's
Wings
perfectly
get their
fine.
first playoff series victory and win 2-1 over the Minnesota Lynx in a thrilling third game.
And I'll take that at the end of the day, even if it's, as long as they win the series.
Right.
I'm hoping that they can defend the home court and not have to go to a third and decisive game on the road.
Right. I think they would be in a pickle. On the other side, right across the way, Connecticut Sun, healthy Washington Mystics. Woo, tough one, BJ.
It is going to be tough. It's going 3 no matter what, Drew.
And it is.
You wanting to pull the upset
This
pick
is a
here?
rematch from the 2019 WNBA Finals.
That's right.
Oh, man. Alyssa Thomas, the MVP, versus former two-time MVP Elena Deladon and company.
I know you want to pull it, man.
Does it stay chalky?
I know you want to pull it, Drew. Say pull.
Oh, my goodness. It's going 3, like we said. And who's going to win? It's the Connecticut Sun in 3.
It's the Connecticut Sun.
Oh, so nervous. I wanted to pull the trigger, but I was like, no way I do that to AT in the MVP season. No way they go out first round.
Man, I mean, it's going to be a dogfight, though, all the way to the bitter end for Washington. I know you wanted to pull it, Drew, because you said Washington was a dark horse at the preseason to make it to the finals. I know you wanted to do it.
Back across the way, BJ, Aces, Wings in the semifinals. Wings, after not being above 500 in the previous season, may or may not finish above 500 in this season, find themselves in the semifinals. 3 victories away from playing for a WNBA championship.
Aces in 4.
Yeah, I agree. Exact same.
I'm sorry.
Aces in 4, 3-1 victory for the Aces there. Wings do squeeze one out. It may be the
I think it's on the home court.
I think it's maybe the first game or, their only home court game, and Aces get the rest of them, whether it's in a row or whatever. I don't know. But Aces just going to turn it up and take it. Unexperienced Dallas Wings team gets their first playoff series win, but can't get past the defending champs.
It's okay. You want a little bit of growth every year. This is growth. This is perfect.
Aces moving on. And on the other side, BJ, New York Liberty versus Connecticut Sun. 2 versus the 3. It's your turn to go first since you made me go first on the last one.
I went first just a second ago. I said Aces in 4.
Well, that was easy, though. You always take the easy route over here. All right, okay.
You know that revenge is going to be well on the mind of the New York Liberty. The series will go all 5 games, but we're going to get the matchup that we were wanting preseason. I've got the Aces and the Liberty matching up with New York over Connecticut in 5. But AT and company in Connecticut are not going to make it easy. Jonquil is going to defeat her former team to get back to the finals for the 2nd year in a row.
Ooh. Man, oh, man. I'm right there with you. The exact same amount of games. Hate to do it to AT and company and Connecticut fans. They don't get to touch the finals again. It might have just ended in heartbreak if they did, just because of them being undermanned. So it's good the way it ends for them there in the semifinals in 5 to New York. Then the powerhouse matchup in the championship, BJ.
You want to talk about it? We're going to get our money's worth if this matchup happens.
I'm going with Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces in 5 games. In 5 games. Let it flow. Back to back for the first time since 2001, 2002 when the Sparks did it. Oh. Yes, sirree.
I did not know what he was doing for a second there. He stormed off like he was about to leave the set or something. I didn't even say anything.
And gets Candace Parker another ring, whether she plays or not. I don't think she will.
Man, this is the best. It feels like this is the best chance for a champion to go back to back. I mean, as good as the Sky were, and not being able to do it going into last year, I don't think there were a lot of people that thought they would have beaten the Aces.
But they got to face your MVP.
They got to face my MVP. And like I said, if there's one player I want out on the court, it's Brianna Stewart. The Liberty in 5. We do not get a repeat champion. New York Liberty will win the title. Sabrina, Bree, Jonquel, they're getting a ring.
Oh,
Super team in this same offseason. This is what they built towards. They accomplished the goal in year 1. Man, and it's always better when we disagree.
Man, oh man, he went with his MVP squad. Okay. A difference.
I won't be upset either way if the Aces win because it will be historic, but I think that the Liberty are the only team that are going to be able to knock out the Aces. And if they don't match up in the finals, then the Aces will win it again. For whatever reason, if the Liberty get knocked out before the finals, it'll be a back-to-back. Back champions.
Love the takes. I'm gonna be looking forward to these playoffs, and
absolutely,
that. It was a very chalky way to get there, and that's
it's not. Is it not? Yeah, I have a problem with it being called chalk though, because these teams have earned it, Drew. These are the 2 best teams in the league. This is what everybody wants, right?
Oh, in question. I mean, it's still actually up for grabs for the number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
If things flip-flop and New York is versus Chicago and Aces are versus who was that?
It was Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta. Aces versus Atlanta. Does it end up the same way? Do the same teams meet in the finals?
It don't matter. It's
New York versus Dallas.
New York beats Dallas, and the Aces beat Connecticut. It's still they're
Connecticut. Okay,
predestined. Whatever, as long as they're 1 and 2, they're going to match up. However, it's 1 and 2. The only thing that's different is that if the Liberty get the 1 seed, that game 5 would be in New York as opposed to in Vegas. I've got with Vegas being the 1, New York will go on the road and win that 5th and decisive game. And I know they can do it.
Whoa!
All right. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be interesting. Going to be some tightly contested battles in these playoffs. That is for sure. It's going to be fun, BJ.
It will be.
And you know what else is
Speaking
fun?
of fun.
Another fun with a little game. A little game called With It, Quit It, baby.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about
3.
We don't have to worry about hitting the button a little too soon this time around, Drew. I've got 5 questions for my man over there to the left of your screen. He's to my right. He's over here.
That's me.
I've got 5 questions. He's going to tell me if he's with it or if he's going to quit it. Drew,
Sure am.
Are you ready?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, we're starting with number 1.
Boom.
Well, Drew, you like sports, right?
A little bit.
A little bit, just a little bit. But, you know, I know hate is a strong word, but there are teams that you hate, right? Or just generally dislike and wish nothing but bad things to happen to them, correct? I mean, that's pretty fair for most every sports fan, you'd say, right?
I actually don't know about hate because, I mean, no, actually, I don't have a team. It's more so players, not the teams.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can change your opinion on this one then.
Uh-oh.
If you did have a team, since you say you don't, the team that you would hate the most, and this is across any sport, the sports team that you hate the most is Houston Astros. With it or quit it?
All right. Okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah, let's go Houston Astros. They just had far too much success for my liking, and you know, at our misfortune. You know, we got to 2 World Series before they did. We lost them both, and they got to we're not even going to talk about it. Okay. Yeah. Yep. With it.
I figured as much. All right. I thought I might be able to get you.
Banging trash cans over here. We don't need that to get our chips.
Well, we need to get one of those chips,
Yeah,
even if we don't use the trash cans to do it. But
may not be en route this year, though. We're in the deep.
No.
Oh, man.
All right. Drew number 2. This is very simple.
Oh.
Dad jokes. With it or quit it?
With
Those
it.
ones that are groan worthy, they make you slap your knee. You're absolutely with it.
With it. I'm with it. Oh, yeah.
My mom told me one. I can't remember what it was. She was talking about they were making planes out of the planes don't crash. They would like float on the water. And the company that's making this new plane is Boing, 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 Boing. So, yeah, there you go. There's the bad dad joke of the day. Although that would be a mom joke since it came from my mother. So, all right, Drew, number three. We are back to NFL season starting up tonight, but I don't think I've asked you this before, Drew, but
probably not.
The best way to consume the NFL every Sunday has to be NFL Red Zone. With it or quit it?
I think you have actually asked this before. I feel like I've heard this before. And the answer is, again, quit it if it's been asked before.
Okay.
And I believe it has, because I don't actually consume it like that. I consume it through some very website. And always have a good time watching it that way. So I don't utilize Red Zone.
I was about to say, but if you utilize, you could still utilize Red Zone in the same way, I would think.
I mean, if you gonna give me your password and stuff to utilize Red Zone and stuff, I can't even use my mom's YouTube TV down here because of they do the home location.
Oh, that's so stupid.
It worked when I was in state, but not out.
Yeah, it's just dumb. Stop this crap.
They
Stop
do that
it.
For the
What does it matter?
They do that for the applications and things too. I used to have somebody else's Hulu, and they that home location thing.
What does it matter? I mean, it's you're part of the family.
Yeah, it's not your business who you share it with. It's not your business. Yeah.
As long as you're getting money, I don't know. Just that's another rant for another day.
But I'm gonna quit it on that one. The streak of with it is now over.
Number four. Well, Drew, today is National Beer Lovers Day, and in honor of that, Drew,
you got me. You're sending me a case of beer, BJ?
No, I'm not sending you one, but I was gonna say you're gonna indulge in one to wind down the rest of the night after the show. With it or quit it?
I'm gonna say quit it because I don't have any.
Oh, okay. Would you, if you had one though?
Yes, and I would do it just because you told me that it was that day. I mean,
I still got some stuff that I have to do, but I might have one as well.
Anybody listen right now? Y'all want to send me go to my Twitter. I've got a little tip thingy right there. You can use that. send me $20. I'll order DoorDash and bring some cold beer to my door tonight.
You can see if they'll deliver it to you from the driving range as well. Maybe.
Man, save that for the. No, I can't. I can't bring it on. Can't bring any outside drinks. We'll get in trouble.
I know. All right. Last but not least, Drew.
The last one of the season. That's the
last one of the season. And it's gonna be very important that you make the right choice here. Drew, number 5. The number 11 Texas Longhorns. Going to go into Tuscaloosa and take down the number 3 Alabama Crimson Tides. Come Saturday night, they will pull the upset. Are you with it, or are you going to quit it?
I feel like I should quit it, just because it's not safe to be on the side of Texas. I feel like every time I'm like, no, y'all gonna lose. They play really well, so. What happened last year? Somebody asked me. I think it might have been this same game that somebody asked me about last year. The guy that I used to work with at the place we won't talk about. Yeah, he always asked me about football games. I think he asked me about this one too. And we had played really well in it. I think in the early part, and then ended up pooping the bed.
Quinn got hurt.
I'm still going. Yeah, I'm still going. Going quit that.
Okay,
I'm not.
That's fair.
Old Nick
with
Saban's aware of upsets happening lately, so he's like, that ain't happening to me. We're not having no Johnny Manziel type stuff. He's gonna go out there and erupt on me. No. And speaking of which, I did watch that doc recently. It was good.
I thought you'd like it. I'm glad because I was just thinking about that the other day. I updated my archive with the Wither quits that I had written down on paper. I've always got a running tally here virtually of our or at least some of our Wither quits that I have at least. But
by the way, I get to I'm retiring another booklet. I'm gonna start doing it by seasons the rest of the way. So I didn't have much left in here anyway. It was like maybe 6 or 7 pages because it's a whole lot of me messing up. So I've ripped it out. So instead of actually having 70 sheets in this bad boy that's worth the season's worth, it's ending after. It started on episode 30 of this season. So just
about
the back
20
end,
episodes.
Yeah, just the back end of this season is in here. But it is going into the Lowdown Hall of Fame as well. I guess does it have enough to be inducted?
I'm just gonna say, I mean, it may not have been a stat compiler, but its peak was so good that you can't not induct it, I would think, Drew. Like, I mean, there were some really good episodes in that last 20 episode stretch that you don't want to necessarily say are not Hall worthy to me. And I mean, I'm a big Hall guy anyway, so I would say throw them all in there.
Yeah.
Send them all to the Library of Congress.
Maybe not first ballot, maybe second time around. So
it'll be the committee gets them in at the last year of eligibility.
We'll let the people vote on it and see if these 20 episodes in this booklet was it a Hall of Fame worthy stretch from episodes 30 to 50? Does this booklet get inducted, or is it just another booklet? Will only one former booklet of the Lowdown be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Oh man.
Spiral be alone with the misfits. Find out.
You decide. You decide.
Let the people decide our fate. Well, PJ, that apparently seems to be With It or Quit It.
That was With It or Quit It for the final time this season, Drew, and that means we're done with the 3rd season of the Lowdown. Holy cow!
And
just kind of hit it.
Yeah, it just kind of hit. And if we can get around to it, hopefully we can mush together a best of season 3. This is the only season that is entirely over here on YouTube since we finally made it over here. Started kind of, for the most part, doing our own thing. And we've still, once again, even in this season, tried a whole lot of different things. In the last 2 seasons, in 2 and 3, we've been a part of multiple networks. In 2, it was the Lead Podcast Network and the Basketball Podcast Network.
Yep.
And 3, it was the Basketball Podcast Network and the Lowdown, formerly Podcast Network, which is now, yes, formerly the Lowdown Podcast Network. If you guys haven't seen already on social with the message that we put out, Lowdown Podcast Network is no more Lowdown Golf, CVB, or any football trying to make its way into the realm. It just seemed like the best decision for us, and read the rest of the letter for everything else. But it's just a better way to go for us, and we're rocking it solo again. And unless something crazy good comes to the forefront for us in the future coming, I don't think we'll be trying to join any other networks unless it's just something supreme and we're leveling up and we really feel like it's something we'll never leave. Otherwise, we'll probably just kind of be rocking this because we don't want to. At least I feel this way. I don't want to be bouncing back and forth between networks anymore. I wanted the Lowdown to be the final stop. Well, that'll be the stop of joining or creating at this point anymore for the most part. But hoping to do season 4 a little bit better. Just kind of focus on us and really hone in on what we've been putting together for the first 3 seasons here. I mean, I think we've, as the seasons have gotten by, we've gotten better and better at this thing. And
I think so too. I think we had our best season in terms of interviewing guests yet.
Oh yeah. I mean, the guest lineup was on fire. I mean, we finished out the season with just a boatload of guests. I mean, it was really just kind of to make up for the lack of in the front half of things. But man, we really hammered home the hard-hitting guests, and we had a good lineup of folks come through, and it was definitely a whole bunch of fun. Looking forward to doing that in the course of season 4 and all that has in store for it. And I mean, everything that's going to be there is going to be a whole lot of fun. It won't be a whole lot of change as far as like the ends, the day-to-day of the show. I mean, BJ's best is staying as it was. He may make some internal modifications to it. I don't know just yet. That is up to him. Same as with what's on Drew's mind. It'll probably be in the same realm. We'll continue to try and get creative like we did today, a little bit more in the future. Yeah, those things are staying. We're still talking NBA and WNBA as always. Still presented by Stathead, and got our friends at T Public Fanatics and SeatGeek over here, always rocking with us, and that's how we're rolling.
I do want to say, I think when we get closer and closer, we will be bringing back, we'll be bringing in something for the college basketball season. I think that'll be.
Oh yes,
cool. Yeah.
We do have a good surprise. In terms of that, I mean, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and break that for anybody that's made it this far into this episode. And anybody that's made it this far into this episode deserves to hear this. We're going to be keeping on. I mean, of course, we've always talked a little bit of college basketball. And good old Coach Tripp from the Lowdown, formerly the Lowdown CBB, is going to be joining us periodically to continue his coach's corner and to give us his insight on college basketball throughout the course of at least season 4, if not into beyond. We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
But yeah,
it'll be a good time.
And continue to go. Coach's Corner was a hit, and I mean, he's excited about it. Trying to continue doing some hoops content with us, even though the network is no more. So I think that'll be great, and people still get to dive into Coach's Corner every now and then as well. So
absolutely,
that'll be really good. So. Make sure you guys are following us on social media if you're not already. We already told you about the social handle. It's at @the_lowdown. That's THA_lowdown on all the socials, on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. Somebody on Twitch stole our name. There's no underscore, but you can follow us over there as well. Make sure you stay tuned for all this to come in season 4. Hopefully going to have a trailer for you guys out next week. Won't have an episode out next week, but we will have the trailer of what season 4 is going to be like. And we'll take our usual break between seasons, and we'll be back on the 21st, a couple of weeks from now. What award was getting given out? One of those awards drops.
Yeah,
I think it might be MVP or Rookie of the Year or something.
I thought it was Rookie of the Year, yeah.
Rookie of the Year in a couple of weeks, and that's when we'll be coming back. So we'll have a whole lot of WNBA playoffs to hash out. So that might be around the association when we come back.
It might have to be.
But plenty to talking about, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of WNBA NBA news as well, and look out for the bonus content that will be coming in season 4 and all that entails. And man, a long way of saying thanks for tuning in for this season 3 finale. We almost made it to 2 hours on an episode, and we haven't done that since the first time we ever did a college episode, when we did the whole 2 men's and women's bracket in one episode. But I mean, a good way to end it off. A lot of exciting things today, a new interesting topic that we'll work to get through faster, those big lists, of course. But thanks to everybody that tuned in, that made it through 3 seasons with us. We love you. We appreciate your support. We hope that you will follow us into season 4. And thanks for being a part of the Lowdown experience and hanging in with us. This has been another episode and another season, as season 3 concludes, another edition of the Lowdown Sports Show. We'll see you again for season 4 of